Hello everybody, I'm Rach. I am the owner of Disabled Sapphic. I am a non-binary disabled lesbian and welcome back to my channel. So this video I'm going to talk about how I realised I was non-binary and how I came out and all that stuff, because I know it's not very talked about. I don't have many friends who are trans, who are part of the trans community, who are non-binary, and I just wanted to do the video just to be informative and to I want any cis person to be able to watch this and find it, I hope they find it easy to understand and enjoy it, really. Okay, so here we go then. Okay, so I guess first off, I need to say a lot of my realising that I wasn't the same as cis people when I was a child is so entwined with my lesbianism, because they feel so similar. Like, this feeling of otherness around other girls. So many lesbians can understand that, but at the same time, my transness is a big part of it as well, my not being cis. So it took me a very long time to realise that. I realised I was a lesbian when I was 13, and I realised I was non-binary when I was 19. So obviously it's been a long journey, but starting when I was very young, there was obviously that feeling of otherness, but there was also, I think I mixed up compulsory heterosexuality and gender envy a lot. Okay, so compulsive heterosexuality is when heterosexuality is assumed and made so normal in our society from when we're so young that it takes non-heterosexual people such a long time to realise that we are not. Especially women, because it's so difficult to unlearn that experience of you have to fall in love with men, you have to be married to men. The whole point of your life is to grow up and settle down and be a wife to your husband, which is so enforced by our society. It takes a long time, and it's also what makes a lot of lesbians feel like they have crushes on men. If you want to learn more about that, I really recommend Compulsory Heterosexuality and the Lesbian Experience by Adrienne Ritchie, or Adrienne Ritchie, I don't know which. And the Lesbian Master Doc has a really good explanation of that, and it really helped me a lot, actually, reinforcing it, because I knew I was a lesbian before that, but every time my comp het has reared its ugly head, the Lesbian Master Doc has been like a lifesaver for me. So yeah, but that isn't what this is about. It's about non-binary. So I would mix up compulsory heterosexuality and gender envy all the time. So gender envy is when you look at a person of another gender and wishing you were them, or that you had their self-expression and had their, basically you look at them and you're like, God, I wish that were me, in a certain way of like, I would look at a lot of men who were feminine but in a masculine way and think, God, I wish I could do that, because when I perform in a feminine way, it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like it's just a woman doing woman stuff. So I had massive gender envy, which I thought was a crush on people like Sylvester. Massive thing for him. not thing, but like gender envy. Also David Bowie, just as a musician, and also massively as his part as the Goblin King in Labyrinth. I was so obsessed with the ballroom scene in that, and I couldn't understand why for the longest time. Also Freddie Mercury, Prince as well. Prince was a massive one. So those are the type of people that I had gender envy for. So it's not like masculine men. It was men who were feminine in a way that was like, when men decide to be feminine, it's like, it's a choice. And I know I'm just repeating myself, but it's the only way I really know how to explain it. So yeah, it was realizing the difference between my compet and gender envy, and realizing I didn't have a crush on them. It was me wanting to have that sense of expression and the freedom to be feminine in a way that felt freeing and not being enforced in more stereotypes as an AFAB person. AFAB being assigned feminine at birth. Okay, so on top of this, I started experiencing gender dysphoria when I was going through puberty. Not about my tits though, which is weird because you'd think tits. But no, I love my tits. I don't want them going anywhere. But yeah, I got my gender dysphoria around my hips. I have big hips. I'm very curvy. And I hated it. And I still do. And I still get it around my facial features as well. Obviously, when you look at me, you could make the assumption that I was born female, or, you know, with female sex characteristics. So I had a lot of that. When my waist was getting smaller, my hips were getting bigger, and obviously my face is very squishy, and I'm not going to go into detail because obviously it makes me very if you don't know what gender dysphoria is, it's a feeling of discomfort and horror at physical characteristics that are part of my biological sex. So yeah, that's what dysphoria is. So I was struggling with that for a long time. It was very like this dysphoria, this gender envy that I thought was compet. And I came out as a lesbian and I was still struggling with these things. And I was like, okay, I don't get this. And I started to find peace and find things out about myself when I integrated myself into the online LGBT community. It's not that I couldn't have gone into like LGBT groups where you meet up personally, but I have massive social anxiety, so I was not going to do that. So I went on Twitter, I joined Facebook groups, I went on Tumblr, and becoming part of that community is so freeing and so life affirming. And I met not just lesbians, but other people, also like people who are gender non-conforming, people who are non-binary, people who are trans. And they talked about their experiences, and I was able to relate, and I was able to relate on this level that it felt like learning about lesbianism for the first time all over again. And it was that allowed me to really think, there's something going on here. This isn't just a weird thing that I'm going to have to put up with the rest of my life, with this feeling of a shudder going down my spine anytime someone calls me a girl. It's okay, and it's a thing, and it's allowed, and it's valid. And it was so amazing to me. Like, it was God. I mean, I think I can't even talk about how impactful it was for me to realize that I wasn't cis, and there was a reason for all of these feelings that I've been having. So yeah, I realized that in 2019. I came out in 2020. So yeah, quick thing about the trans community. Not every non-binary person will say they're part of trans community. I do. The way I see it, trans is an umbrella term, and underneath that umbrella is binary trans, which is female to male, male to female, and there's non-binary, which is another umbrella term which contains things like agender, gender fluid, all these other things. I just label myself as non-binary. I have been thinking about what label I am within that, but right now I'm abstaining because I'm not ready to have another gender identity crisis right now. I am dealing with enough. So yeah, that's what happened. That's my experience. It's not everyone's experience. This is just me. This is just my story, and I tried to explain it as best I could. Yeah. One of the questions I get asked the most is, am I planning to medically transition? And the answer to that is right now, no. As I said, I have no dysphoria around my tits, my breasts. I'm not interested in top surgery. All I know right now is top surgery and bottom surgery. And I don't know of any surgeries that will like change your bone structure in your hips to make them smaller, and I don't really know what I would do to my face to make it more masculine if I could. I mean, I can think about it, but yeah, as of right now, I'm not planning anything. I still experience dysphoria, but there's nothing really I can do about the shaping of my pelvic bone. So I'm pretty much stuck with it. I dress to hide it. So yeah, I'm not planning to medically transition. And if you have any other questions about my experience, anything about the non-binary community, I will not answer about the binary trans community because I am not part of that. So I will not answer for them. So yeah, if you have any, then leave them in the comments. I will absolutely answer any questions anybody has if they pertain to me. So yeah, please remember to use they, them pronouns, as I've just done a whole video on how I am non-binary, and those are the pronouns I use. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any video ideas of what you'd like to see from me, you can leave them in the comments, you can DM me. All of my social medias are also Disabled Sapphic. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. So follow if you want. It's lovely speaking to you. The next video I'm planning on doing is the Sapphic sex education you never got in high school. I just realised I haven't put my light on my phone, so half of my face is in shadow. Great. I'm not filming this over again, so I hope you can forgive me. I will be more... I'll try to remember next time. Thank you. This is the end of the video. Bye.